Hey there, welcome to your real estate market update. We are almost halfway through November. It is hard to believe we are coming up to the end of the year and the holiday season. I hope you've had a great fall and a great year so far. Today, we're going to start more high level. We're going to talk about what's happened in the real estate market, why have things been slower, and the signs out there that the real estate market is about to turn and about to thaw. Then we'll drill down to what's going on locally because at the end of the day, while it's important to understand what has gone on nationally, real estate is really local and it varies across the country, market by market. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get right into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is a study that Redfin did that they found that only 28 out of every 1,000 homes in the US have changed hands in 2025. So that's the turnover rate. It's not how long people are staying in their homes, it's how many homes have sold and transferred to new buyers. So that's the lowest turnover rate that we've seen in at least 30 years. And so you can see historically, what does that number typically look like? This goes back to 2012. And this is looking at, again, home sales per 1,000 homes for the first 9 months of the year, all the way back to 2012. And you can see how it's stayed, been over 30, over 40 as well. It went to an all-time high in 2021, really driven by the pandemic, and then has kind of dropped off since then. 2024 and 2025 are likely to be the slowest home sales years when adjusted for population growth. Now, why is that? Why is that happening? A lot of people ask me, why are things slower? Well, one, there's affordability challenges that are keeping buyers on the sideline. Two, we have had that rate lock effect where sellers are not willing to give up a 3% interest rate. They either can't afford it or they don't want to give it up. They can't move from 3% to 7%, for example. And then finally, economic uncertainty, which always impacts people's decisions, especially with regard to major financial purchases. And obviously, purchasing a home or selling a home is a significant financial purchase. So that economic uncertainty has really made buyers cautious. Now, there are signs that the housing market is starting to move again, and I think we're going to see these signs, help start to push the real estate market moving forward. And we are projecting to see increases in sales. We are still projecting to see an increase in overall home price appreciation next year as well. But what are some of those signs? One, mortgage rates have been decreasing this year, and they're lower than they've been in the last couple years. Two, more and more sellers are saying we need to move. That rate lock effect is easing, which is good news. Because people have had major life events, and whether it's a relocation or they've downsized or they're increasing the members of their family, they've had some major life change and need to make a move. So we're seeing more of that lock-in effect easing. And then lower rates and more homes to choose from are bringing more buyers into the marketplace. So we'll start with mortgage rates. This is something that I am constantly tracking because I want to help advise my buyers and clients that I'm working with as to what's been going on with mortgage rates. And that's so important. So you can see here, we started the year around 7%, and we've seen this steady decline, and now we're just over 6%. This is as of October. So that's significant. So what does that mean with regard to like a mortgage payment? So if we go back to May, and let's see here if I can find May. So May, it was closer to 7%. If we look at what mortgage payments looked like in May, the median monthly mortgage payment, you can see compared to today or to October 26th, it's about a $300 per month difference in the median monthly mortgage payment. That's a significant saving. So that's really huge. The other thing that we're seeing is, that's really driving affordability is that we're starting to see wages climbing at a faster pace. There's really three things that are going to affect your affordability. One is your mortgage rate that's paid on the home. Two, it's going to be home prices. And three, it's going to be wages. So we've seen mortgage rates come down and make homes more affordable. We are seeing wages climb at a faster pace, which is great news. And then, as I mentioned, you can see that rate lock-in effect is weakening. So I know this is a crazy chart, but I would just focus right here. You can see the red is growing, and that these are mortgages that are above 6%. So, and you can see the below 3% is easing a little bit. But yeah, you can really see the most significant growth down here with mortgage rates that are or mortgages that have mortgage rates of over 6%. So that's significant. Inventory continues to grow. So we have mortgage rates coming down. You have wages growing. You have inventory continuing to grow. So there's more options for buyers in the market today. And you can see this is active listings, October of each year. October 2025 is the sixth consecutive month that we have seen active listings in this country over 1 million. And you can see how it compares to the last few years, like when we got into the pandemic, what happened with inventory. So you can see we're starting to approach the pre-pandemic years, which were really the last normal years in the real estate market. So this is a good indication. It's a good sign. It's a sign that the market is normalizing. So that's great news as well. Homes are selling at a more normal pace, so it's not, 2 days on the market or 1 day on the market. I mean, sometimes we do see that across the triangle here locally, but nationally, you can see it's increased to about 2 months. 2 months on the market before, from the time it comes on the market until it goes under contract with a buyer is about 63 days. So about 2 months. So that's good news as well if you're a buyer, because you have not only more options, you can take your time, you can go back and take a second look at that home. So it makes it for a more comfortable, it's becoming a more balanced real estate market. And it's shifting a little bit more favorable to buyers where they can take their time. They have more options available to them and things like that. So homes are selling at a more normal pace. Pricing, I talked a little bit about pricing before, and I've talked about this in some of my other market updates. This is what's going on across the 50 largest metros across the country, year over year change in home prices. So you can see it varies. Obviously you have Cleveland. Again, I always give a shout out to Cleveland because that's where I'm from. So they're on the map for the highest year over year change in home prices, and then all the way to Tampa, Florida, which has seen the biggest decline. So some markets are seeing depreciation, some markets are seeing appreciation, but some of these markets that have seen the largest decline are some of those that saw the most significant growth during the pandemic. So some of these saw 60, 70% increases in home prices. So it does make sense that they're seeing a more dramatic adjustment or market correction today. Home price forecast. So there are buyers that sit on the sidelines and say, hey, I think home prices are going to come down. But this is what the projections are for 2026. So as we finish up the year here locally, I'll show you what's going on with the average sales price and what has happened over the course of the year in a little bit. But nationally, home prices have seen an increase, and they are projected to increase 2024 to 2025. And it's about maybe 2%, which is a normal, healthy growth in home price appreciation. This is what's projected right now for 2026. So you can see all these experts that weigh in as to what they think is going to happen with home price appreciation. There is one expert who's projecting a slight decline. But if you average all of these out, you end up at just under 2%. Again, normal, balanced appreciation. And so the last thing I wanted to show you as far as like a national basis, and talking about waiting for home prices to come down and things like that. If you purchased a home in 2025, this year basically, and you look at what experts are projecting for the next 5 years, the potential growth in household wealth or your equity in that home is projected to be over $60,000. And I would ask any of you, if you could have bought a home 10 years ago, would you have purchased that home? And what would your equity or net worth look like today, knowing what happened during the pandemic, especially here in the Triangle, the incredible growth we saw in home price appreciation, especially here in the Triangle. If you could have bought a home 10 years ago, would you have done it? And what would your equity and your net worth look like today had you done that? Most people you talk to would say, oh, absolutely. I would have bought in 2018, 2019, right before the pandemic started, right before everything got crazy. And so this is something to take into consideration is we are not in a market where we're projecting to see a huge decline in home prices. So if you have the ability today to swing it at the high, a little bit higher rates, they have come down, mortgage rates have eased, but if you can swing it today, it's a wise investment, especially if you're planning on hanging on to it for a while, and you're going to watch, your equity grow and your household wealth grow, not only because home prices are projected to increase, but every single time you make that mortgage payment, you're getting equity in your home. So That's on a national level. What's been going on? What's been going on locally here in the entire Triangle region? This is looking at year to date through October, and this is a huge geographical region. We've seen listings increase as we've seen across the country. We've seen closed sales increase as well. And our median home sales price and average home sales price are flat versus last year, or the average sales price has seen just a small amount of growth. The average sales price in the entire Triangle region is just shy of 488,000. And you can see what happened with the median sales price and the average sales price for the month of October. So a little bit different than what we're seeing nationally. But overall, here in the Triangle, we don't anticipate to see a large decline in home price appreciation. We're going to be about flat or see a small increase for the year. Where we do see a lot of changes is that sellers are reducing prices of their, so we're seeing list prices coming down. We're not necessarily seeing home prices when compared to last year come down. We're seeing list prices of homes come down, and sellers are averaging 96.7, they're averaging coming off their list price, their original list price, about 3%. So we are seeing that discount. And then this here is like what the list price was when the house closed. So this is like if you listed for 600,000 and then you reduce to 575, you got this of your final list price. So we are seeing that trend across the Triangle with regard to home listing prices coming down, not necessarily home prices coming down. What's going on in the Triangle today? And I like to focus on Raleigh, Cary, and Durham because those are areas where I sell a lot in. But I always like to focus on, hey, what's on the market today? If you're a buyer in the market, like what are you looking at? How many options do you have? If you're looking in Raleigh, Cary, and Durham, you have over 3,500 homes available for sale. This also includes new construction homes. And I was just telling somebody the other day, not all new construction homes get listed in the MLS. So there could be more options. If you are considering new construction, there could be more options available. So that's why it's important to talk to an agent. And I usually am keeping in touch with a lot of the communities I work with to just see what they have available, what they have coming up, things like that. So over 3,500 homes available for sale in the Raleigh, Durham, and Cary area combined. What is under contract? 1,578 homes currently under contract that'll close sometime in the foreseeable future. These are both resale and new construction homes. And then finally, what has closed so far this month? 276 homes. And then last month, we sold over, in October, we sold over 1,000 homes, or closed over 1,000 homes combined in Raleigh, Cary, and Durham. And this was an increase from last year. Last year we sold under 1,000. So we did see a small increase in closings in October of 2025 compared to October 2024. And so that is your real estate market update, sort of high level today. If you have any questions on the real estate market, you live here locally, or you want more information, don't hesitate to reach out. If you're looking for more videos like this, or you want to learn more about our area in the Triangle, check out my YouTube channel, Welcome to Raleigh. You can see more videos like this, community tours, city tours, things to do in the area. It's a great resource. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful holiday season. And I'll talk to you again soon.